It's a movie about nothing. Civil War, directed by Alex Garland. Alex Garland made a lot of good movies. I was excited to see this because it's an interesting premise. We're in an interesting climate, politically and socially and just worldly. It's got a pretty dang good cast. And it just doesn't matter. Before the movie came out, I was worried that a movie like this would have the tendency to lean one way or another politically, which is fine. You know, any filmmaker has any prerogative to do what they want and to tell the story they want to tell and to have the message they want to be received into, you know, the hearts and minds of Americans, right? But when you have a message that leans a certain way, it lends itself to be a touchy subject in terms of talking about this movie. Did I like it? Do I have to defend why I liked it? Did I hate it? Do I have to be careful about who I told I did like the movie? Blah, blah, blah. Is it going to be contentious to talk about this movie? And maybe, listen, a movie should be when it's called Civil War, but sometimes you just want to go to a movie and be entertained, right? And he came out and he said before this movie that this doesn't take one side. It kind of is right down the middle, and it kind of just tells the story that it wants to tell. And I was like, cool, I like that. I'm interested. Talk to me, Alex Garland. Show me the way. Lead me. And what he did was he led me to 2 hours of absolutely nothing. I have a theory, and my theory is this. He came to A24 and said, I have this really cool movie about war photographers and watching the hardened war photographer teach the softer, more green war photographer how to navigate through taking pictures of horrific wartime events. And they were like, cool, I love it, here's your budget. And Alex Garland looked at the $10 million check and was like, ooh, can we times that by 10? And A24 was like, well, sure, but how are you going to make us money? And he was like, okay, what if it took place during a civil war? I got to tell you, I think this whole movie is a big, big, big tale of false advertising. Amazing Spider-Man level false advertising. This movie could be about anything post-apocalyptic. You could take all the American references out of it and just, it could be a movie about war photographers, and that's it. Not to say that I wanted it to take one side or another, I didn't, but it's just not interesting in terms of it being built around the Civil War, other than a cool shot here and there of a landmark being attacked. That's the only thing you get out of this. Is like, oh, they're in Washington, interesting. There's a bazooka going off, interesting, but that's it. And that barely goes anywhere either. This movie is about wartime photographers. About photographers during a war and how they navigate that. And in terms of that, in which we got, that being the movie that we saw, it's not good. There are no characters to root for. The character that they want you to root for makes a lot of dumb decisions that get people put in harm's way. I'm going to do my best not to spoil it. Kirsten Dunst is the lead. There's little to no growth in her character at all. And, you know, the ragtag group of misfits that we follow throughout this war are just kind of doing their thing. And then we get to the end of the movie and it's over. The first hour of this, save for one interesting-ish action scene, is just sitting and talking, praying to God that you care about these characters for what's coming in the third act. And if you don't, which I didn't, unfortunately, then the movie is just kind of pouring over you like a stream of lukewarm water to the noggin. I'm just frustrated because I was really excited for this thing, and everyone that saw it said it was at the very least entertaining. And by the time we got to the third act, I was like, oh my God, we're in the third act. And nothing's really happened. Not to say that nothing's happened, but nothing's happened in terms of there being a civil war, and nothing's happened in terms of me giving a shit about any of these characters. And I hate to be poo-pooing on something that everyone seems to like, right? Obviously, you want to like everything you see. It's just frustrating because it's not so bad that it's entertaining, and it's not so good that you want to see it again and again. It's just, meh. It's a movie. There's some cool action, and the characters are just nothing. And the performances are cool, and the direction's cool. and it just has nothing to do with any sort of civil war. If anyone is coming out of this and saying this could happen in real life, I feel less nervous about a civil war now than I did before watching the movie. Because again, to come out and say like this could happen in real life is to say like, sure, states could secede. That's the only thing that happened in this movie. States have been seceding, and now they're fighting. What about that could happen? Like, oh, that could happen. Sure, anything could happen. A unicorn could fly down from space and say it's Jesus. Would you leave that movie and go, that could happen? Is it only a that could happen thing because it's in front of the Washington Monument? Nobody left Homecoming and said, hey, a superhero could destroy the Washington Monument. That could happen. So it seems like a lot of critics went into this movie and kind of made their minds up and just couldn't wait to come out and say, wow, bone chilling. If anything, I wanted to leave that and go like, whew, I'm nervous. And I left that going, well, I guess I watched the movie today. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Not even a little bit. And again, I'm sorry if people liked it. I don't know, I'm sorry. I'm not lying to you. That's how I feel. I'm sorry to myself for getting so hyped up. But I don't know. Not great. Not great. What'd you think? Did you like it? Tell me I'm an idiot. I'd love to hear you say right to my face I'm an idiot, because sometimes I need to be brought down a peg or two, okay? Gotta be honest. If you like what you see here, please be sure to subscribe. It is free after, no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, Jesse Plemons is like barely in the movie, and Nick Offerman is in it even less. So don't get excited for them. Civil War.